I know. Welcome, Adventures for Connection, Tanya and Norma. We wanted to chat today about 123, which is Sunday, the end of this year, the way it's been written up. And I put that in quotations because to me, the new year begins in the spring when everything starts to bud. Yeah. But let's talk specifically about the numbers, Norma, the 123. And I can't get that. You know, we were discussing it yesterday and coming up with it's like ABC. Yeah.
This is the easiest. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Yeah. For anything, there's an order, there's a process. And the best thing that we can speak to is understanding that in the spring, the one thing that we are actually preparing for is for a new harvest. So what is it that you must do in order to prepare for that? Well, you must get out there first and you must pull the weeds that serve us no more, that is seeds that were planted there because of, the winds that blow. It depends on how you want to see it on levels. And once you get those weeds pulled up, what's the next thing? You must till the ground. So you can prepare it for the new seeds that will become plentiful if it's the seeds of purity, of original, not tainted, not touched on any level. So when we look at that and we want to equate that to something, it all comes down to the information in which you utilize to bring together knowledge that speaks to your growth. So to me, the 1, 2, 3 is simple on so many levels when you understand just the simplicity of what it is that you are implementing in your growth.
Absolutely. And what we've been doing, whether we're conscious or unconscious of it, is definitely clearing out the old, so to speak, and making room for the new. And when you have that beautiful, you're tilled it and you're going to go plant those seeds, and you're really consciously like, is this for my highest good? Always, we're giving this information always for your highest good, to take this information and actually make a little list. What do you want to let go of this year? What weeds are you going to pull now? So that come spring, as this new birth begins, and through January, February, until March, I think it's the 24th, that we actually consciously mull that over and refine them. Right? And give them some love and decide what we'd like to do with them. So we'd really love to hear from you via email back to us what it is you'd like to, one, get rid of, and number two, what would you like to implement? How would you like to feel? And does it resonate with you? So make sure you're checking in with, how does it make me feel? And I invite you to be very personal about this. You can have a collective wish, but make it personal right now, because when you shift yourself, you shift the entire conscious collective. And that is our wish for everyone, to realize this and to do a little more inner work. And so do this for you specifically. Don't worry about the kids right now or the partner. This is or your parents. We want you to do this for you, specifically for you, and write them down and share them. And we'll continue to talk about this over the next few months with you, so that we can work on this together and refine it. And so, Norma Jean, do you have one that might be one of the seeds you want to plant, or one of the weeds you want to pull, or both?
No, it's been a bit of a beautiful process for me, where I know that over this time, and I'll say especially within these last, I guess it's December, so about 8 months, a lot of it has been really, really tending to the garden of self. Understanding that the weeds that I pull, they are the weeds that serve me no longer. I know that that's where, during this process, I'm beginning to recognize the weeds that I've missed. And in that, I have come to those weeds And as best as possible, I pluck them out. And when I pluck them out, I pluck them out with as much root as I can. For I do know that they serve me no purpose. However, I still want the ground that I'm about to till to be null and void of anything that does not serve me. And in that, I know that as I till this ground, it becomes a soil of richness, of purity, of great abundance, because I have removed anything that seems binding within that soil, so to speak. So that way, when I get ready to plant those new seeds of knowledge of that produces wisdom, then what I'm doing is the only thing that I need to focus on then is what is this garden going to produce as it grows in plentiful knowledge, because that's what gardens are. Gardens are the places you plant your information of the seeds that you want to bring together, that provides you with the knowledge that taps into the wisdom, which is your abundance, once it has hit its peak. But we're doing this all the time. This is not a seasonal thing. It's that anytime that you gain that information, you're planting seeds, so it becomes knowledge of like a tapestry or a puzzle, to see a broader and bigger picture of self first in that reflection, for you gain that information for the knowledge to tap into the wisdom that this garden produces. So mine is to just continue to keep, I'm planting gardens all the time now, because once I get one planted, I'm heading to the next one that's over here on, South Street here, and I'm going to be pulling the weeds out of it, while this one over here is doing what it needs to do to gain the knowledge from the information I've planted there. Yeah. So you see, it's continuation. It never stops. So it's a beautiful process when you come to understand that this is your growth. You're what would you say? You're taking the soil that has been, kind of tainted and not been given the breath that it needs to breathe, or, the minerals and the nutrients and all that. And what you've done when you take those weeds out, it breathes. And it breathes deeply. And when in that deep breath, then it produces quickly. So it's always a continuation. So mine is always taking the information, seeing what it brings me in that knowledge to tap into the wisdom that already is there. So it's always a continuation for me, always. And this is more of a minute by minute thing that's happening. So that's always my goal, is to find the results of the time that I put into tending to my gardens.
Absolutely. And I'll take it and not twist it, but bring it into thought patterns, right? And so reprogramming your subconscious, not the right. Same metaphor can go for it, and flicking away or pulling away those thoughts that no longer serve you, and implanting new ones that do, and changing from, every time you get anxious about something, you turn around and go, why am I feeling anxious? Where do I feel it in my body? Where did this come from? It's a matter of tilling and replanting new seeds within you, but allowing the feelings to be part of that process as well. So there's many ways of looking at this, and it all comes to the same result, as a better version of you overall and what you would like. Because if your foundation or your garden has not been tilled and it's got weeds all over it, you're going to have a hard time having abundance. It's a process. And so when going through this process, and it's not unlike a foundation on a house, you want to make sure you have a solid foundation, right? There's many ways of looking at this. So, and it's continuous. It never ends. You always need to maintain a home. You always need to maintain a garden. So anything that is living and breathing is in a constant flux of change. You think about a tree. A tree doesn't just stop growing and say, okay, I'm done. Just going to sit here now. No, it's constantly moving and constantly shifting and constantly breathing and constantly taking in water. It is a process. And same thing with the body, right? We want to upgrade the body. So how do we do that? We work on our foundation, and then we add in things. Okay, how can I cleanse? How can I add in more nutrients so that my body can perform the best? So, you take this all encompassing and you get to this overall abundant state, and it still keeps going. because you're just going to keep going up and up. Same with the energies and energetics. How can I work on my energy? And so these are the foundations of what we'll be working on as we go forward, is assisting you with each of these levels. And we're just so grateful you're here, and thank you for listening. We're wishing you all the best for whatever this weekend holds for you, this, celebration day, the extra long weekend. And on this calendar becomes January 1st, and we leave the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Can you bring that ease and grace into this next year with you? You want to add anything else, Norma?
Oh yeah, of course. In the ease and grace, understand that this isn't a race. It's not a race. You're not behind. You're doing. You are where you are. It's attending, and that's what we have to do with our physical gardens. And when you understand the representation of a physical garden to the garden from within, then you begin to understand the truth of the power of the creative process. Us as human beings are mastering, understanding to bear the fruits or the abundance of our labor first for self. Always put self first and foremost. It's about you. And as you do that, do it with love, patience, kindness, and know that you will begin to see what it is you need to see as you do the tending. That's what this process is for. It's about reflection and seeing what it is you need to see that you may not see at the time that gives you the fullness of the understanding of self. So always know, if you can't see inside what's going on or what you're producing, recognize how you're doing it outside, because it will reflect that within.
Yes. And remember, when you put yourself first, it's not selfish. It's selfless. Because as you go through this process, you will become that beacon of light for others. So we love you very much, and we'll chat with you soon.